Live.
What do you say, everybody? Here we are, post-game live on BamaInsider. He's Trey Yanity. I'm Mick Gillispie. Alabama with a convincing 27-6 victory in the Cotton Bowl over Cincinnati, going back to the Natty again. Nick Saban, the game plan worked. All these young guys, Bryce Young, the offensive line. We got so much to talk about. Phone lines are open as well. We're going to hear from you guys. So get ready to call in at 205-850-0883, and we'll have Nick Saban's post-game press conference. Maybe Luke Fickell will take your calls, and then it'll be time for Michigan and Georgia to see who Alabama's playing for all the marbles. But, wow, what a game, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you wanted for Alabama today. It was a quiet win. You worked in the run game. The offensive line created a lot of space. Defense looked great as a whole, and I'm going to keep it short here because I want to get to these phone lines. Want to see your guys' comments as well, so get in there and let us, know what you think about this semifinal game. But Alabama in their 7th CFP, going back to the national title, a lot to talk about tonight. Just another big win. Alabama doing Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, look, you talk about the way that this thing went. Alabama set the tone on the opening drive. They went down the field. I'm not going to say I was surprised by the game plan at all. As a matter of fact, I think I said it on this channel a lot of times that I thought Alabama was going to attack just the way that they did against Ole Miss. They were going to run the ball a lot, not go away from the pass, but that they were going to really try to take advantage of the trenches. And that's exactly what they did. Brian Robinson looked healthy today, Trey.
He did. I mean, this run game as a whole. Talk about Brian Robinson. Talk about Trey Sanders, too, I mean, in general. And, Brian Robinson had been dealing with somewhat of an injury this last month. I think having this time off, getting the holiday, getting the 4 weeks, was necessary. And, it made a big difference tonight. That's got to be your MVP as he gets the interview here post-game. Excited to see kind of how this transitions over to the national title. But this was a team that I think you could run on, and they took advantage of it. Overall, great scheme. Bill O'Brien's time away obviously didn't matter too much, but overall, Brian Robinson, I mean, having a career night, got over 200 on the ground in this one.
B-Rob. I mean, look at that attack right there. 26 carries for 204 yards. I thought Trey Sanders looked like a back tonight as well. He got 14 touches and went 67 yards. But Brian Robinson behind Alabama's offensive line, this is back-to-back games where the O-line has really played well.
Yeah, I mean, this is vintage Alabama. This is Seth McLaughlin coming in on short notice and creating a lot of space at center. And we see Chris Owens kind of go down there in the last minutes of this game. We'll keep you updated as we find out more there. But, potentially some more movement. No Milikior today on that offensive line. And just guys stepping up and making plays. We talk about, where the game's won. It's typically in the trenches. For this Alabama team against Georgia, against Miami in that first game, some of the bigger games, the better games they've played, the offensive line has been the emphasis. In the games they haven't looked as good at Auburn early on in this game, it's been because the offensive line hasn't quite looked as good. So, that's where it's won. They won it there today. Seth McLaughlin is maybe my MVP. Brian Robinson obviously, had the game of his career tonight, but up front, Seth McLaughlin, a lot of these guys on that offensive line just doing a killer job. I think that's why you win. And before we move on here, Chris, our producer, does such a great job. But tonight, he did go into jinx mode. I have to note this. Poison. Talking about Will Reichert on the Twitter, called him Mr. Automatic, and then a few moments later there was a missed kick. So got to give our boy Chris a shout out here. But no rat poison at BamaInsider.com. Got to learn that the hard way. Overall, though, I mean, offensively, this is the game you wanted. For the Crimson Tide. And I think there's a lot of momentum to be taken from this game. A little bit scary there, Jamison Williams. It looked like he came back and was healthy and ready to go, but didn't work in as many as receivers as I thought we would see tonight. Overall, you got Ja'Cory Brooks, his long touchdown, and it was clicking. It really was.
Guys, like and subscribe as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. I think we're going to hit 70,000 subscribers tonight. I really feel like it'd be a great night to do it. Alabama punching their ticket to Indianapolis and a chance to win the national championship. I use the term repeat because it would be a repeat win for the Crimson Tide, but this is an entirely different team. I mean, you're talking about a team that's led by a couple of sophomores. You got Jamison Williams, who wasn't even there last year. He was with Ohio State. State, the team Alabama beat in the championship game. Brian Robinson, the third-string running back a year ago. Now all of a sudden he's kind of the bell cow. This has been such a different season, but you know what? They have found a way to get it done. So if you like what you saw tonight, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the Bama Insider YouTube channel, and share if you're watching on Facebook. I'm just telling you, like, just total domination. And we're taking your calls as well at 205-850-0883. And I just felt like, Trey, like, I never thought that this game was in question at all.
No, it really wasn't. And there was great energy tonight from the get-go, like we saw at Georgia. Hopefully better energy than our boy Austin Leah is providing here in the comments section. And guys, get in there. Let us know what you think about this game. I mean, a lot to break down. This was a different kind of game than we've seen throughout the year. Alabama, to start a lot of their wins this season, a lot of their better games, they've kind of dumped it off and had a lot of quick passes to open up the game. Tonight, we saw 10 straight runs to open it up. They just marched downfield and kind of worked off the clock. Took about 5 minutes on that first drive and just controlled the tempo. That's what this team has to do when, you're a little bit younger, you don't have as much experience, or, you're not as confident in your offense. You kind of have to control the tempo and just take some time off. They got up. For Alabama, this was kind of about just getting that lead and not allowing Cincinnati to have the chance to compete. Because if Cincinnati had to be in that comeback kind of role, they don't have the personnel necessarily to make a comeback against Alabama. So Alabama, stuck to the strategy, ran the football, controlled the tempo, and that's why they won this game tonight.
Back-to-back games where Alabama has played teams that are undefeated, and they beat both of them. Cincinnati wanted a chance at Alabama. That was kind of one of the storylines that I had going into this game, was that Cincinnati was calling out Alabama. Their fans wanted a shot at the Crimson Tide. Everybody wanted to take down the kings of college football. They got that opportunity, and they had the worst first half offensively of any team since the college football playoff started, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we expected. And, I don't think that this is necessarily going to be a flag bearer kind of game for the rest of the group of five. But, this was what we expected, which I think was the worst case scenario for Cincinnati. They wanted to come in here and make a statement tonight. And I think, they had the team to do that. They have Desmond Ridder, who's going to be one of the first quarterbacks taken. Jerome Ford, who's going to be, early round kind of guy in the NFL. Two excellent cornerbacks and, Ahmad Gardner and Kobe Bryant there as well. But overall, Cincinnati played like a group of five school against an Alabama. They never, looked like they had the confidence on offense. Their defense was a little bit slow at times. And, for them kind of representing the group of five, this was a bad example tonight. Moving forward, I don't think the CFP is going to use this game as maybe an example, of how they're going to pick schools. I think things are going to change. And, if we see expansion, we could see 2-3 group of five schools potentially get in. It's going to be about the personnel. It's going to be about the roster, but it really did look like Power 5 versus group of five tonight. There was just never, the pace shift or any kind of momentum swing for Cincinnati. And in a game like this, Luke Fickell said it in his interview right before kickoff, they had to have a big first quarter. They kind of had to set the tone, get the energy on their side early. They didn't do that tonight. Alabama did Alabama. And we didn't want to overlook this game. This was Cincinnati. This wasn't, Michigan or Georgia or, Oklahoma State, one of the other top programs in the country this year. This was a really good Cincinnati team, but, there was that kind of subconscious thought, this is a group of five school, they're not quite as talented. This team was really good, but, you got that win, you're moving on. I think you checked all the boxes tonight, no serious injuries, and, nothing you can really hang your hat on too much. I guess, early on, maybe you hope to set the tone and score a little bit more early in that game. But overall, just a great night tonight. Keep the head screwed on and just keep this thing going to Indy.
What did you think about Alabama's offense without John Mechie? Did not having him affect them at all in this game, in your opinion?
To an extent, I think it changed Jamison Williams' play. I think a lot of the times when you have a guy like John Mechie in the game, he can kind of be that guy over the middle or the out route receiver, just kind of the shorter to middle distance kind of guy. That allows Jamison Williams to be your deep ball guy, your bomb threat. That's what we saw against Georgia early in that game. I think, Jameson kind of had to become John Mechie tonight. He had to be the check down receiver at times, the guy that you hit over the middle on 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and, middle range. And he did a great job of that too. I don't think there's a bad role for Jameson Williams. He's one of the best receivers in the country, obviously, a Biletnikoff finalist, but, it's a different role for Jameson Williams, and that changes the rest of the receiving core as well. I thought we'd see a little bit more Slade Bolden in the second half. He came out and, kind of made it his own game in the first half there. I thought was going to be the MVP at times. But, overall, when you don't have a guy like John Mechie, run the football as much as you can. When you have a guy like Brian Robinson, who's as hot as he is right now, and, against Georgia or Michigan, maybe you don't feel as confident against that defensive front, so you have to work in Ja'Cory Brooks a little bit more, or maybe Trayshawn Holden a little bit more. Even we saw Javon Baker at the end there. So I think it's going to be a different formula against Georgia or Michigan. I don't know if they were holding some things for a potential national title, but, tonight, obviously the game plan was run the ball, and they did just that. And that's why they won this game 24-6. Maybe they throw the separations a little bit more, but they were able to just control that clock, like I said, and, control the pace and get in the end zone, plenty tonight to get the big win.
All right, you ready to take some calls, Trey? Anything else you want to add before we head to the phone lines?
Let's do it, guys. Bring the energy. We had an unbelievable, run this season on the phone line, so I'm excited to hear it. But, great win for Alabama. Get in these comments as well. Want to hear your thoughts tonight.
All right, guys, like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Let's go to the phones and let's get into this one. I'll tell you what, it was a good time watching Alabama play. Who's this and where you calling from?
Yeah, Demetrius from North Carolina.
Demetrius, roll tide, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Roll tide, roll. Man, first of all, I want to give a excellent game. It's kind of old school Alabama game. Run the ball, control the clock. Shout out to the whole defense. Pete Golden, called a good game. And shout out to Bill O'Brien. He 2 for 2. I'm proud of him. He's been taking heat all year. And most important, I want to shout out to Brian Robinson. I mean, he exemplifies what the process is at Alabama. You stick around, you might not get to play. Other players might overshadow you, but you wait your turn, you will get your time to shine. And I'm just excited to see who we play next, and I'm just amazed that Bill O'Brien done called 2 good games in a row. I'm flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted, and but I'm gonna let you go take some other callers. They'll get more in depth, and I'm getting ready to get my stuff ready, so I got a fishing tournament in the morning. But roll tide, and like I say, shout out to especially Brian Robinson and Bill O'Brien, especially Bill been taking shots, and just got one more to go, and I got a lot of checks wrote about. And I hope them guys catch it for me. Roll tide.
Hey, catch those fish tomorrow. Demetrius from North Carolina. Roll tide. And Trey, before we go to our next call, man, any thoughts on Demetrius? Giving a shout out to Brian Robinson, who did stick through the process, had his best game in an Alabama uniform, and then Bill O'Brien. I mean, I think Bill O'Brien called a hell of a game today. I would have done it the exact same way. I would have attacked on the ground. I said this from the beginning. Take advantage of Alabama's skill and size advantage on the interior and pound them, and they did.
They did, and I love hearing from our boy Demetrius from North Carolina. So thank you for getting in the phone lines. But like you said, this was vintage Alabama. This is old school. Control the clock, run the football, play good defense. We saw all those things today, and I don't know if that's what we're going to see in the national title. But as far as Bill O'Brien goes, this is when we needed him to get hot. This is the Bill O'Brien we kind of expected to see throughout the season. And, I still question whether or not he was holding a lot of that playbook for the Georgia game, because he knew that, that opponent was going to be a lot more difficult than the rest of the regular season schedule. So maybe, this is the Bill O'Brien we could have seen throughout the year in, different circumstances. But, like you said, just one more to go. 4 quarters, Bill O'Brien. Keep it going, and you might win some more fans back over.
All right back to the phone lines again with Trey Yanity. I'm Mick Gillispie. Guys, give us a thumbs up and subscribe as you hang out here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And let's go back and talk about this game. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. And if you are hanging around, 205-850-0883 if you want to talk about tonight's game. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh, man, this is Mike, man. California.
What's up, Mike?
How the hell y'all doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. How about you, Trey?
Feeling great, man. How are you doing, Mike?
Trey went silent on us.
What's
Hey,
that?
wait, let's get into this real quick. I'm not so amped at this game. I feel like Robinson Jr. did his thing. Our offensive line, boy, I swear they was getting dogged all year. They coming together. They talking about Bill O'Brien calling a good game. This offensive line is doing their thing. And Pete Golden needs a bit more love. His defense is, I mean, for the last 2 years, bro, we've been like, wait, man, what's up with Pete Golden? The defense is coming together all at the right amount of time. I ain't got nothing much else to say other than roll tide, man. I'm so proud of number 4. That man stuck his head down and said, look, we're not going to let a non-Power 5 conference team come in here and shut us down. That's what we're not going to do. And we're not even going to challenge their DBs because we don't have to. Man, congratulations. Roll Tide. And I'm going to go ahead and jump off the line, man. Let y'all do y'all thing, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate y'all. You already know.
Hey, thanks, Mike, from the Golden Coast, baby, calling in and talking Alabama football tonight, Trey. I mean, Brian Robinson and the offensive line, they get the game balls, right?
Oh, they have to. I mean, at the end of the day, Brian Robinson had a career night, but it's not possible without the amount of space, the gaps that he had to run the football. And I'm going to say it time and time again when we talk about this game, Seth McLaughlin coming in, on short notice and playing, maybe the most important role at center on that offensive line, doing such an outstanding job tonight. Really creating space and, just timing things up right. I love what we saw there, drawing a big penalty early in the game as well. Overall, this offensive line has looked like two different kind of teams. We talked about it on the tailgate show earlier today. Sometimes we saw in Alabama that looked like they were beatable by just about anybody. And I think that was because of the offensive line. The reason I think we're seeing such a dominant Alabama right now is the exact same part of the team. We're seeing the offensive line step up and almost, play like the leaders of this ball club at times. Obviously, Bryce Young is going to be able to make a play. Regardless, the more time you have, the easier it is to do so. But for this running back room, without Jace McClellan, without Rodell Williams, you need a little bit more time. You need some gaps. That's what they had today. If they have any kind of space like they did against Cincinnati, against Michigan or Georgia in the national title, you're going to have number 19 easily.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again, Trey, and take some more calls. Like and subscribe, guys, as you hang out with us and we talk Alabama football. We're going to hear from Nick Saban here shortly. I'm really excited, actually, to hear what he has to say. Who's this and where are you calling from?
That's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's up, dude?
I just want to echo everything all the other callers have said. Brian Robinson. I thought the ultimate poster person for the Nick Saban process and sticking with it was Mac Jones. I'm now going to substitute him for Brian Robinson. And then sticking with the process, and you'll get rewarded for it. Because he was just outstanding today. I say he was figured the person get the most yards in the history of Alabama football in a bowl game would be Derrick Henry, but no, it's going to be Brian Robinson. It was just an outstanding performance. We knew it, and like you said, you have to call the game this way with the offensive power that we have on the receiving and with Bryce Young, but Cincinnati just begs to be run on. I mean, Tulsa got 300 yards rushing. There's no way in the world Tulsa gets 300 yards rushing. Alabama's not going to kick that pocket for 300. Of course we can. Of course, then that had to be how this game is going to turn out. I was never, had any doubt, even though the offense wasn't, didn't have the A game, but the Alabama's B game could be on offense could beat Cincinnati, and we do it. So there was really no doubt how the team was going to turn out. It was just great to see Brian Robinson get the accolade and the recognition that he's deserving for sticking with the process and waiting his turn, and they're not hitting the transfer portals, and it was just great to see. The defense again, we get angry with Pete Golden. We've had frustrations over the years, but I mean, if he does it, if he pulls it out again this year with the defense playing well as it has, this will be 2 years in a row down the stretch that the defense has been outstanding. And so, we got to give credit to Pete Golden. Can't always, criticize him when it's bad. Got to give some accolades when it's good. And right now it's good. Down the stretch when the defense has to have it, when we need to shut down, we need to shut down teams. If he does it again one more game, this will be 2 years in a row that, hey, when we needed you there, you were there the most. So it was great to see. Mr. Anderson, of course, is still Mr. Anderson, and he's just again the best player in college football. And I would have liked to have seen a better performance on the offense as far as the passing game goes. It wasn't so much. I don't think it was so much Cincinnati as it was we weren't quite in sync with things on the passing game. So hopefully we can get that straightened out for the next game. Because the few plays that. Hey, that's not Cincinnati's defense. More so than we're just not connecting on a play or two here. So hopefully Bryce will get back in sync with the way he was with when he had Mechie. And I think losing Mechie maybe it's going to take a little time to get in tune with other receivers. I'm glad to see Jameson Williams back in the game. Hopefully the injury he suffered won't be anything severe. And it was interesting to see about 79 too. Although once again he was having one of his less than stellar games, which also affected Bryce's game. So we definitely need to do something about Owens and his up and down games. It's like, okay, we got to recognize when he doesn't have it and do something else. That's probably a bit of a problem I did see with Bill O'Brien is recognize when Owens doesn't have it this game earlier and do something else to get the ball out of Bryce's hand quicker. Or to do something else. But other than that, still a great victory, and it was just great to see. It came out the way we all figured. Cincinnati wasn't going to be able to hang, and we were going to run it down their throats. And that's exactly how it turned out. So great to see what happened with Brian Robinson. The guy, his speech after the game, outstanding. All right, great talking with you, buddy.
Hey, Robert, always great to hear from you, man. Roll Tide, my friend. Happy New Year.
Roll Tide. You too, bud.
That's from my buddy Robert from Mobile. And guys, the phone lines are open right now. If you want to jump in and talk to us at 205-850-0883, 205-850-0883. Phone lines are open right now as we're waiting to hear from the old ball coach, Nick Saban, the GOAT, literally the GOAT, who did it again. And Robert talks about, and everyone really is called up, Trey, and talked about Brian Robinson. Look, I've been critical of Brian Robinson. Not really critical. I respect his game. The guy just gives you 110%. He's just coming in, in line after just amazing players in that spot have been at Alabama and NFL stars, right?
Oh,
I'll tell you what. Today he was great.
No, he was exceptional. This is the game of his career. And, you look on the other side of the line of scrimmage, a former running back that was in his room, Jerome Ford, didn't have quite that day. And I expected to kind of see the opposite, the other way around there. Not to say that Alabama still couldn't have won the game, but Brian Robinson came out and was the MVP plus today. And, Bryce Young didn't have John Mechie to work with, but I don't think anybody expected to see this kind of performance out of the back that, was hurt just a month ago. And, to think about all the guys that we talk about, Derrick Henry and, Bo Scarborough, Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Brian Robinson set a bowl record for Alabama rushing yards today. So, quite a feat in and of itself. Just adding to this great list of running backs, Josh Jacobs, another one in recent memory, Damian Harris, you just go down the line. It's been running back university, and Brian Robinson hasn't quite got the credit that a lot of those guys I mentioned have. Najee Harris last year, doing the hurdle in this playoff game, but, coming out and just with the steady attack today, taking off the clock and just doing his thing. Probably would have liked to see him score a little bit more to get that credibility as well, but over 200 yards on the ground. I think, let me get the number here. some 26 attempts, along a 23. Just outstanding performance today. But keep going back to it. It starts with that offensive line and what they were able to free up for him. This game, I think could have been won in a lot of different ways, but the line had to show up. And when Bryce Young was flustered, things were a little bit in question early on. Even into the second half, it was an 11-point game at 17-6. But, the line stood up on both sides and, we're able to stop Jerome Ford. On the other side of things, open up holes for Brian Robinson. That's the key to this game. And we'll, break down the national title and preview that a lot in the coming weeks, I guess, 10-day period, whatever it is. But, it might look different because this game plan was unique and perfect for a team like Cincinnati that has such great cornerbacks. Just try to attack their defensive line.
Yeah, look, that's what Alabama did, too. I mean, they went in there and they ran straight ahead at those guys. Brian Robinson had the best game of his career. And, look, his draft status is growing every single time Alabama plays now. I mean, I don't know that he's ever going to be a feature back in the NFL, but I'll tell you what, the guy never turns the ball over. He fights his butt off out there. He blocks, and he just does everything that he needs to do to give Alabama a shot to win by being consistent. And who would have ever thought that we would be at this point now with Alabama taking that step to the national championship game, Trey, and that Brian Robinson would kind of be the bell cow back that got him there. And today was his coming out party where he let everybody know, look, the game plan was I'm going to run the ball just like I did against Ole Miss. And he did it to the tune of 204 yards on the ground on 26 carries. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And it's great to hear from all you guys as you hang out with us tonight. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as you hang out on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And let's talk more about this Alabama team. Don't forget, we're going to have Nick Saban's press conference coming up real soon. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is David Gaines from the Mecca, baby, Bruton, Alabama. How you doing?
What's up, David? What's up, Bruton?
What's going on, Mickey G?
Man, look, man, I am feeling really good about this win today.
Look, I'm positive that you are. Me too, brother. Look, listen, I knew it going into the game. I felt it in my heart. It was just something that Alabama fans just can feel, that we're gonna make another natty run. And we kind of felt it after that Georgia game, but it sure feels good to get this win tonight against Cincinnati. Congratulations to them, man. I mean, it was a great job what they did, but they did run against that wall called the Alabama Crimson Tide, didn't they?
Look, the defense is getting better each and every week. Alabama wouldn't have beat Auburn if the defense wouldn't have been dominant in that game. Auburn had the one luck touchdown. Yeah. That was it.
That's correct. Alabama defense has been dominant for a little bit. People don't understand, even when the offense was off, the defense was really holding us down, And it was good to see that. It was good to see, our defense stepping up and looking like a Nick Saban defense, if you can get what I'm saying.
Oh, look, man. Will Anderson has gotten a lot of help now. Phil Mathis and Dallas Turner and Drew Sanders. I mean, there's a lot of guys. And I'm not even hitting everybody. I thought Brian Branch had some big plays in this game. And I'm looking at the stats right now that he just showed up. I just kept saying, there's Brian Branch again. I mean, that dude it felt like there were 3 Brian Branches out there.
Brian Branch is on beast mode, man. You understand what I'm saying? He is on beast mode. And that Will Anderson, you ever seen that game, what is it called? Something about the gods or whatever. And it's Kratos. That's who I think Will Anderson is. He's the son of a god. You know what I'm saying? It's like Hercules. He's just a freak, man. He's way above everybody else in his position in the game.
When I was a kid, my grandmother used to give me Tang, and then when we ran out of Tang, we started getting into Kool-Aid. I would mix it up. I like the blue Kool-Aid. I like the orange Kool-Aid. Right. I was always a fruit punch Kool-Aid guy. How about Kool-Aid, man? Kool-Aid in the game making some plays.
Kool-Aid McKinstry? Yeah. And, the thing about it is he's going to be something. It's going to be something else. He's going to be special. I mean, we got Will Anderson coming back next year. You got Eli Rich coming over from LSU. He's a 5-star.
Right.
You got all these guys that's coming back, man. It's going to be a freakish team. I'm loving this, man. I'm really, really, really loving this.
What was your favorite flavor Kool-Aid?
Huh?
What was your favorite flavor of Kool-Aid when you were a kid? I know you had Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I did. Well, man, yeah, we definitely had some Kool-Aid. That's all we could afford, for real.
Me
Before
too.
Coming up.
I was a fruit punch guy.
I had to say grape. Mine was great.
Grapefruit Kool-Aid?
I like the flavor grape.
Look,
Yes, sir, yeah.
coming into this game, coming into this game, I'm looking at the matchup and I'm saying, if Cincinnati can speed the game up, right? They spread Alabama out. They speed up Alabama. They hit some big plays. I got a lot of respect for Jerome Ford. I think Desmond Ridder is an excellent quarterback. You look at the way that team can do things. They haven't struggled until tonight all year long. I thought that they would give Alabama some trouble, or potentially could, maybe like Arkansas, maybe like Florida in the second half, but it just never happened because of that defensive front.
It was obvious what Alabama was going to do. It was obvious, and everybody said they got those two good corners, and they got what's the guy named Kobe Bryant, and the other guy
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. And so, everybody knew what they was going to do. You don't want to really just try those guys like that. So everybody was asking me all week what they're going to do because I'm like the Bama guy here, right? They was asking me all week what they're going to do, and I'm saying they're going to run. Alabama's going to run the ball. They're going to find a way. They're going to pound the ball. They're going to bring that defense in so they can throw over their head and play action. And that's exactly what Alabama did. Cincinnati knew they was going to do it, It was just, can you stop the run? And they could not stop the run. And that kind of opened up a world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, man, you know what? I think Alabama going to get them another one this year. Because once they get there and they smell that grease, burn on that stove, it's time to cook.
Yeah.
I don't really care who we get, if it's Michigan or whatever. Nick Saban's going to play into that team. That's basically what he's been saying all year. He plays to the team that, this week we're worried about this team. Next week we're worried about that team, but we're going to take it one game at a time. And that's what he's doing, and then he's doing a great coaching job.
He's the best. He is absolutely the best. People overuse that term GOAT. They overuse it. But he is the GOAT.
Sir?
I said people overuse that term GOAT. Everybody's a GOAT. No. Saban's a GOAT. That's what a GOAT looks like.
That's right. He's definitely the GOAT. You remember that story I told you about the scorpion and the frog?
Yes.
This is one of those scenarios when everybody was like, "Oh, Cincinnati's going to do this and they're going to do that." And like I said, they're a good team. Congratulations to them; they did good. But just like that story said, we knew who they were before we even let them on our back to sting us. We knew what they were going to be. We knew what Alabama can bring. This is Alabama. We can't lose sight on our team. And Nick Taylor, he tells fans stay longer, in the stadium. If you're going to be, adamant about your team, be hands-on about your team. We can't forget because of what happened with Auburn and what happened with LSU and what happened with Arkansas, that this is not the same team. It's the same team. We got to love our team, and I love my team. I know you love them. And it's hard for me to get on here and talk to you. I'm trying to get on here as much as I can, but it's hard to get in touch with you, which is a good thing, I guess. And I love you guys. Mickey G, hold it down, man. I'm going to try to get back with you. And they are who we thought they was, man. Scorpion and the Frog.
That's right. Hey, look, Sunday night, I'll be on Sunday night. I'm scheduled to do the call-in show, so call back on Sunday night, and we'll kind of see what we got going on with that championship game. And love you guys over in Bruton, man. Roll Tide.
I got you.
Yeah, please do it. Roll Tide. Great call. Guys, as you hang out with us, I'm going right back to the phones because I know you guys want to get in and talk about this win for Alabama. I'm trying to look behind me to see if that Michigan game has started, Michigan and Georgia, which I don't think is going to be much of a game. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Georgia's going to stomp them. All the talk was that the SEC couldn't win bowl games. I guess that's over. Let's go back to the phone lines again, 205-850-0883. Who's this and where you calling from?
It's Quan calling from New Orleans, man.
Quan, I know that things are going to be really good for you for the next 10 days down in New Orleans.
Oh, man, I wanted to catch you before I head out, Mick. I think I'm going to go down to Burger Street tonight and have me a daiquiri and listen to some good music, man.
I've been down there many times to Bourbon Street. I love it. Have you ever gotten one of those grenades that come in the big tubes?
Oh yeah.
And they're like green.
Yeah, the hand grenades.
Yeah, the hand grenades. I'll tell you this story, Quan. This is kind of just like between you and me, but when I was working for Crimson Tide Sports Network, I went down there and they were giving out at this media event years ago free at Pat O'Brien's Hurricanes. Didn't turn out too good for me. Right. So I'm on a never drink another hurricane kick, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to go out tonight and have me a good drink. Man, want to call it.
Well, have a hurricane for me, Quan.
Yanity, a happy New Year's. Mine is pretty much going the way I anticipated about this game. I just want to hit on a few points, Mick. You can tell that this game, Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien, they pretty much went to Homer Wiggins in that wide receiver room and told them, you know, y'all gonna take it off tonight. Just take it easy tonight. We you know, we're gonna pretty much let the run game control this game tonight.
I mean, that's what I would have done too. I mean, like when I was on Jay's show, you know, Jay Barker's show, and you know, weeks ago. I mean, when they scheduled this, and I thought and that's what I said. If I'm Alabama, I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to make it look a lot like the Ole Miss game, and they did.
Right, and that's exactly what they did, Nick. And it worked out. And I think, you know, depending on who we play next week, if it's Georgia again, then we already know that Jamison Williams and that wide receiver room, they're gonna have to step up next week. But you could tell clear from the first drive that okay, this game is gonna be run on the ground. It's gonna be won on the ground tonight. So I'm just happy. I'm happy for Pete Gold and his defense. Like one of the previous callers just said, the defense showed up. You know, the last two games, the defense showed up, man. So we got to give Pete his flowers. You know, we can't condemn him and trash him when things ain't going well. We also got to congratulate him when he's doing, you know, the things that they're supposed to be doing. So I'm just happy for the team win, man. And I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at Travis Kelce and Mark Ingram going back and forth. Travis Kelce said Bama didn't impress nobody tonight. Well, they didn't have to impress nobody tonight, Travis Kelce. You know, they won the game on the ground. This wasn't no heavyweight title or nothing. This is what the big boy football looked like. We run it down your throats and send you back to the group of five.
Well, look, man, they got swallowed by the anaconda. You know, like it's not like if you watch the lions eat, you watch piranhas eat. Yeah, I mean, it's a show. You get eaten by the anaconda. It's a slow process. Except, I've met Travis Kelce. I you know, I don't say I know him, but I've hung out with him before, and I like Travis. But guess what?
Yeah,
the Bearcat is in the belly of the snake.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how impressed you were or you weren't. They scored 6 points.
Yeah, 6 points. I see him in Patrick Mahomes sitting in one of the suites. So I'm thinking that he must be. I guess that must be where he went to school at Cincinnati. So. We didn't have to impress today. We didn't have to pull out all the stops. We didn't have to show everything we trying to do. The game plan was simple. We're going to run the ball down your throat. And our defense going to be out there. We're going to stop you guys. So that's about it, Mick. I just want to call in and wish you guys a happy New Year's, man, and roll tide.
Well, Quan, great to hear from you. Make sure that you have a good time down there on Bourbon Street. Have a hand grenade for me. Stay away from the hurricanes. I don't want you to have to call Tom Roberts and explain why you had too many of them like I did back in the day, man. Roll Tide, my friend.
Roll Tide, man.
Great call. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again. We're waiting to hear from Nick Saban. We're going to have that press conference up here soon, 205-850-0883. I'm guessing that also Trey Yanity will jump back on as well. But love hearing from all of you guys. Alabama, 27-6 win. They're going back to the national championship game. They devoured a Bearcat tonight to get back to the title game. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Mike, my man. This is Mike, Tuscaloosa Mike. I talked to you a couple weeks.
Yeah, what's up, Mike? Roll Tide.
After the Auburn game. Yeah, man, I want to, before I get to Alabama, I want to talk about Cincinnati. You know, maybe some people might call in tonight and disagree with me. I really don't care. Cincinnati shouldn't have been in this ball game as far as I'm concerned. I think they could have probably chose a better team. Cincinnati hasn't played anybody. They played Notre Dame. That was the toughest team that they played. They were 13-0, but like I said, they're in a very weak conference, and it showed up again tonight when they put these teams in there. Cincinnati, Alabama. You know, like I said, it made it easy on Alabama. You know, I wasn't even worried about this game because, like I say, Cincinnati shouldn't have been in this game to begin with. As far as I'm concerned, they have a few talented players on their team, but Alabama has, Alabama has 5-star recruits. Cincinnati doesn't have those type of athletes on their team. The speed, the size. This was a big time disadvantage for Cincinnati, and I believe that the coach Luke Fickell, he made a very bad mistake. He probably could have had any job he wanted to have the last couple weeks. He could have had the Notre Dame job. He could have had the LSU job. USC job. He could have had other jobs, and he would have had a better chance of winning the national championship. He's not going to win a national championship with the University of Cincinnati. They just don't get the type of athletes. Plus, he has to compete with Ohio State for the same people. So Luke Fickell made a very bad mistake. If he didn't know it a couple of days ago, I bet you he knows it now after Alabama destroyed him. Now, let's get to Alabama right quick. Alabama, they look good tonight. You know, like I say, I'm kind of concerned about with the receivers going down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might be kind of shorthanded. But like I say, they can beat Georgia again if they have to match up with Georgia. They can beat Georgia because we'll see what Georgia does tonight. That, from what I'm understanding, they still starting the same quarterback, which is, like I say, I don't see them doing anything with that guy at quarterback. You know, I'll be watching the game, you know, see how he does. But I'm not concerned with them at all. You know, I'm more concerned with Michigan. If Alabama has to play Michigan, I'm more concerned with Michigan than Georgia. Georgia, we've already beat them, and we can beat them again. So Georgia, all the Georgia fans that are listening tonight, you can call in all you want and say that Georgia's going to be ready for Alabama. Georgia already had a shot at Alabama, and they couldn't get the job done, and they won't get the job done the second time. I promise you that. So here's how it goes, my man. Robertson, he had 200 yards rushing. He probably could have had more than that tonight if Alabama would have kept him in the ball game. We'll see how it goes the next time they play. But me, if I was Saban, I would continue to give the ball to Robertson and let him do his thing. Because, like I said, they're shorthanded on receivers as of right now. And like I said, I hope you have a happy New Year. And I'll be listening to your show. You're gonna do a show after the championship game too, I hope.
Oh yeah,
I'll definitely call in.
Yeah. We'll have a show on here for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely be listening because I'm pretty sure that'll be another winning effort by Alabama, and they'll go ahead and take another national champion. And one other thing before I hang up with you, you know, they got some people out there who had a nerve to say that Nick Saban is not the best coach in the history of college football. Nick Saban is better than Bear Bryant. He's better than Ara Parseghian. He's better than Barry Switzers and the other Tom Osborne. He's in the toughest conference in collegiate football, the SEC, and he continues winning championship after championship against the best talent in the country. So there's no doubt in my mind that Nick Saban is the best college coach in the history of college football. And Alabama fans better realize it, because one of these days he won't be coaching Alabama. And I promise you'll see a big difference in the product that's on the Alabama field. And I thank you for taking my call tonight.
Hey, Mike, thanks for calling, man. Let me ask you something, though, if you got a second. How long have you been covering?
Go ahead.
How long have you been following Alabama? I mean, I've been following for a long time, and I think you just hit on something that I kind of want to get into when you get off here. 205-850-0883 if you want to follow up on Mike. But, Mike, people don't remember what it was like when we didn't have Nick Saban.
That's what I was trying to say. Remember when we had Mike Schuler
Yes.
and Doug Dubose? Remember when they was coaching in Alabama, they wasn't winning no games. Like I said, when Mike Schuler and Doug Dubose was in town.
Exactly.
So that's why I say people need to appreciate Nick Saban and hope and pray that he continues. I think he signed an 8 or 9 year more contract with the Alabama. They better hope that he sticks around for another 5 or 10 years so Alabama can continue winning, because just like I said a few minutes ago, when Nick Saban leaves, I believe that the wins are going to leave too.
They
They're still going to have a good team.
Yeah.
I don't believe
Ain't gonna be like this.
as good as they are with Nick Saban.
Mike, Thank you. No, it's not going to be like this. And I'm just glad that you said it because I agree with you because a lot of people don't remember when Alabama was losing. Hey, roll tide, man. Happy New Year. Mike from Tuscaloosa. I'm going right back to the phones again as we wait on Nick Saban's press conference, 205-850-0883. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as we talk about Alabama's dominant win over Cincinnati. Who's this and where you calling from?
I'm calling from Oklahoma City.
What's up? What's going on?
Yeah, honestly, I think Auburn's going to win national championship next year.
Who, Auburn? Let's go right back to the phone lines again. I don't have time for that rubbish. Who's this and where are you calling from? What's that? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Matt. I'm originally from Birmingham, but I'm calling from New Hampshire.
What's up, man? How's it going? Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, brother. Roll Tide. Yeah, hey, great call that. Well, not the Auburn guy, but the guy before. Straight up, Saban. You know, I grew up with Bear, and what Saban's doing is just unprecedented.
Well, yeah, I mean, like this is what's happening right now is crazy. I think Cincinnati's a damn good team. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there. And I disagree with Mike on one thing. I thought that even though their schedule was soft, I thought they deserved to be there. Because, you know, they won their way in. I mean, they went to Notre Dame and they whooped them. They beat Indiana. They played a terrible schedule, but they won all their games. And the team that I was kind of thinking it was going to knock them out was Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State, and they lost. They blew it, you know. So they you know, down the stretch they beat SMU and they beat Houston. Houston beat Auburn, the last caller's team in the Birmingham Bowl. Wow, you know. But I didn't think that. I thought Cincinnati's a good team. I think Luke Fickell's a really good coach. But today they were just they were just out schemed and they were outplayed by Alabama. And that's what Nick Saban has been able to do continuously, game after game. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And all of you guys, I appreciate you calling in 205-850-0883 as we talk Alabama. We're going to hear from Nick Saban here coming up. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Kendall from Mobile.
What's up, man?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
I said, roll tide. How's it going?
Yeah, I was calling. Like, I kind of expected this game to be like this, but I feel like whoever we play in the national championship, I feel like we're going to beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Look, I hope so. I mean, I think it's going to be Georgia. I just can't see Michigan beating Georgia. As a matter of fact, that style's not – I just don't see it working against Georgia. They don't throw the ball. They're not going to be able to spread them out. Georgia's going to stop their run. Georgia's going to score points. They're going to run on Michigan. And I think by the end of this game, I think by the third quarter, all of us will be going to bed. I think it'll be over.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, I think Alabama would beat Georgia worse potentially the second time. Look how we shut out Cincinnati tight ends. And if you want to take a look back to 2011, when we had a chance to scheme for LSU again twice, we shut them out. 3 touchdowns.
Look, the thing that worries me, and I felt like we saw some tonight, is not having John Mechie just as that guy who's coming across the middle to make some plays could definitely affect us. I love the fact that Slade Bolden made some catches in this game. He's had to step up. Look, I mean, he's in a role now where we need him to make some plays. And Ja'Cory Brooks I think he's the next guy. I think he's the next guy at the wideout spot. Great touchdown catch in this game. It was a game changer. When Alabama scored that touchdown, the ball game was over.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Ja'Cory Brooks, I was high on him coming into the season. He's going to have a bigger role than what he had this year, but when his number was called, he stepped up, especially in the Auburn game. But it seems like
that drive in the Iron Bowl, that really brought this team together. And to me, right now, they're like the best team in the country, and they look like a championship team.
It's hard to argue that with the way that they've played their last two games. Do you feel like Alabama would be better playing Michigan or Georgia in the championship game, and why?
Will you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
I said, do you feel like Alabama would be better for Alabama to play Michigan or Georgia in the championship game, and why? Why would you prefer one over the other?
I'd rather play Georgia. I feel like it'd be more competitive. Don't get me wrong, Michigan, they're a good team, but I don't feel like they'd be able to match with Alabama. I think their secondary is suspect, just like Georgia's. Got a great front seven, but you seen what C.J. Stroud did to him. Even though some people would say he's got better receivers than Bryce Young, you seen what he did. What he throw, 350, like 4 touchdowns, something like that.
I see Georgia went straight down the field and scored on Michigan, by the way. So it's 7-0 Georgia. I'm telling you right now, guys, get ready for Alabama, Georgia part 2. I'll say this. If I was Georgia, the thing that would worry me about Alabama is that they're going to spread you out and they're going to work the ball downfield. They're going to play fast like they did last time. But at the same time, in this rematch that I think is coming against Georgia, you can't look back at the game that they played before, because I thought that they were just too pedestrian on defense. They didn't blitz enough. They didn't really throw a hole. They thought that their 4 was going to beat Alabama's 5, and it just didn't happen. Not having Mechie, I think, is a big deal, too, going into this championship game if Georgia ends up winning, and I think they're going to. But at the same time, Alabama's already beaten Georgia, so we know they can do it. It's not like we're going into it going, hey, like the last time where we thought there's no way. I think Georgia has to play about a perfect game to beat Alabama.
And another thing, what's your prediction score for the national championship game, if you don't mind giving it right now?
Man, I haven't even thought about that yet. I'm going to pick Alabama over whoever. If it's against Georgia, I'd say, 34-31, something like that. I think Georgia probably is going to be able to make some adjustments in the game. I think they'll be really motivated after the way that they got destroyed by Alabama. But I also think Alabama's got the better players at quarterback and and wide receiver. I mean, with Jamison Williams, those two guys. But I don't know. I mean, look, Georgia's. What's your score? I mean, Georgia's offense. It's against Alabama. It's. I don't know that they can keep up for 4 quarters.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing, real quick, I think all of us Alabama fans, we got to give P. Golden credit. We gave him a hard time. A lot of us wanted him gone, including myself. But this year, people don't realize how good Alabama's defense has gotten this year. I remember the Florida game where we were struggling on 3rd and long. But against Cincinnati, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and they could do nothing.
Look, I agree with you on that one, too. Alabama doesn't beat Auburn if that defense isn't playing top-notch ball. Alabama doesn't beat Georgia if the defense doesn't make a bunch of plays in that game. And I know, look, the rat poison, as Nick Saban calls it right now, is saying that Georgia can't play football. Georgia was destroying everybody until that game against Alabama. They weren't even close games. They were clobbering everybody. They ran into a team in Alabama that was ready for them, and it was desperate because they had to win to get to this point. But Georgia's still a great team. They got players all over the place. They got the best tight end in the game. They got 4 running backs that probably will get to the NFL. Their offensive line is good. So what you're going to see behind me, and I'm sure when we're off, all you guys are going to swing over and watch that game if you're not doing it right now. And that's what I'm going to do. is you're going to see Georgia playing some solid football. And I'm looking forward to watching it, and I just feel like Georgia's going to be back to being the Georgia team that was going before Alabama played them. So that's my thought anyway.
I think what helps Alabama going into the national championship game versus whoever they play is quarterback and our athletes on the outside.
Yep, I agree. And the experience of winning, and the culture of winning, and the expectation of winning, and working and preparing every day to win. Nick Saban's never said the process was about winning. It was about doing all the things that you had to do to be in position to have the most success. And that's why they continue to get to this point. They didn't look past Cincinnati. They didn't look past Auburn. They didn't look past LSU and Arkansas and all these games. It's one game at a time. But Alabama's got some great playmakers. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next game. I'm looking forward to seeing who they're going to play. And, they got a chance to win another one. And if it's against Georgia, I think that's a really tough mountain to climb, but I think they can do it. Anything else before I go to the next call?
No, y'all have a blessed night. Happy New Year's and Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, man. Thank you for calling in. Guys, as we hang out, 205-850-0883. We're going to hear from Nick Saban coming up here shortly, going back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, bro, this is Matt from New Hampshire. I got cut off before. How you doing?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Roll Tide.
I was talking to you, Roll Tide, and I thought you were gone. Well, welcome back.
I cut out. Yeah, hey, I just want to say I think this is Saban's greatest coaching job coming off of a national championship. Much like in 2017, I think, when we got blown out by Clemson in the Natty, we lost 4 DBs in the first round. Nobody gave us credit. They said we were done. Saban comes back this year, grinding. The improvement from the O-line, from the Iron Bowl to the Georgia game, is the most incredible improvement from any unit I've ever seen in my life. Great year. I think Georgia's going to dominate Michigan in this game. They're going to show who they are. But Nick is in Kirby's head. Kirby's adjustments in that Georgia game, I think Nick's in his head. And I think we go on and we win back-to-back. Roll Tide, brother.
Dude, I agree with you 100% about Nick's best coaching job. Never. I got into a debate with Kyle, Kyle Henderson from our site, who's like, look, man, we're going to win like 4 in a row or 4 out of 5 or something. I'm like, man, this team, they don't block. They got no running backs. They got, this is, and I don't know, a couple, 3-5 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden it was like they just clicked in. I mean, they were lucky to beat Auburn. They struggled against Arkansas. The LSU game, I mean, that stunk like manure. I mean, like, these just weren't typical Alabama games. And then all of a sudden, Bryce Young takes those guys down the field at the end of that Iron Bowl. And credit Auburn.
Yeah.
Credit Auburn for being buffoons and not running the clock out.
That game.
Yeah, look, typical Auburn. And the thing about it, what I love about that game, as miserable as it was to watch up until that last minute, was just watching Alabama and Bryce Young reach in their heart like Mortal Kombat and pull it out and finish them in overtime. It was the best. Like, and I was miserable watching that game. I had to watch it in the studio in the second half because I couldn't be around anyone else because I was yelling obscenities. I couldn't take it. But you know what? It turned out to be great because it has changed it has changed this team and what they do.
100%.
So Roll Tide, my friend. Thank you for swinging back over and getting back on. I was wondering what happened to you.
Yeah, I just what Saban's doing. I grew up under Bear, and even with Bear had rebuilding years. Saban, his resiliency, ability to battle complacency and stay on top, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Roll Tide, brother.
Hey, let me ask you one more question. Who do you hang out with to watch the games in New Hampshire?
I'm from Birmingham. I'm in the Air Force. I'm at Pease Air Force Base in New Hampshire.
So you got some
I'm
Bama friends? You got some Bama friends up there?
No, I'm on my own. I'm with my 3 dogs, and I put my Alabama jerseys on them, and we watch together.
Hey, there you go, man. Well, roll tide, my friend. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling back.
Thank you, brother. Roll tide.
Roll tide. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. We're waiting on the Nick Saban press conference. I'm guessing we're going to have that coming up here soon. And Michigan is trailing Georgia 7-zip. I feel like this is going to be a Georgia walk over Michigan tonight. Hopefully we'll have a pretty good game like that Tennessee-Purdue game. All right, who's this and where are you calling from?
What's up, Mick? Nate from Kentucky, brother.
Nate, what's up, dude? Roll tide.
Hey, roll tide, brother. Pour a little wood reserve here. I tell you, man.
That's what I was going to ask you, because, you know, I'm looking back behind me and I'm thinking, can I reach and get that Screwball peanut butter whiskey just to have something to tip back with you as we kind of enjoy this?
Hey, we need to get you down this way.
I'm coming down, man. I'd love to do it.
Hey, absolutely. I'm in Georgetown, right here, close, right there, between about same distance between Frankfort and Lexington.
Well, look, we win one more game, I may have to come down there and do one of those sampling tours with you.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I appreciate. Hey, Mick, you know, more than anything tonight, just proud of the guys. You know, it was kind of simple, kind of basic, but we did our thing and rolled through it. And I kind of do think we were holding a little bit back, because I really believe, I was telling my buddy this earlier, I think Georgia's going to end up winning by probably 2-3 touchdowns pretty easily in this game. And I think we were just going to be basic with it, be vanilla, not show too much, so that we can save up a little bit and be prepared to face Georgia for another time, because I think it's going to be tough.
I do too. Look, man, I mean, the way that Georgia got their butts kicked by Alabama, that's one of those whoopings where you go to bed every night and you think, man, I let everybody down. And you work hard to get that opportunity again. And to me, if you're Alabama, I mean, I think that's why that game's so dangerous, because you know what? They're going to be motivated. They're going to want revenge, you know, kind of like we did when LSU beat us in 2011, right? And then we went back and shut them out in the Dome. I was there, and they didn't get past midfield. You know, I don't think that'll happen against us. But what I'm saying is that there's a collision course right here, and it doesn't matter if Purdue beat Tennessee and Army beat Missouri and Florida lost to UCF, and, you know, South Carolina 1-1 against North. It doesn't matter. The games that count are going to be between two SEC teams when it's all said and done. And it's going to be Alabama and Georgia, in my opinion, and we're going to see them in Indianapolis, and it's going to be a bloodbath. I mean, really. I mean, I think it's going to be about as physical of a football game as Alabama's played, and they're not going to have John Mechie, so somebody else is going to have to make plays.
Yep, no doubt, man. And the thing is, too, you know, you kind of look at it, and it's just kind of the way it works for the media, and I totally get it, but, it's going into that game, everybody's like, oh, well, there's no way Georgia's, going to lose to Alabama. Now, all of a sudden, we beat them the way we did, and the narrative's going to be, oh, there's no way, Bama's going to take care of business. And you know how it is, man. It's going to be a nail biter, but at the same time, at the end of the day, got to trust Saban. Love that, man. That's why my dog named Saban out here with me right now, running in the backyard.
What kind of dog is Saban?
Terrier.
Terrier. Okay. I used to have a Jack Russell.
Yep. He's running around here. And old Saban, got his little collar on him there. We're rolling the tide here in the bluegrass.
Look, you couldn't have, like, if you had a lab or you had a German Shepherd or something, you can't call it Saban. It's got to be a little mean terrier to be Saban.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he's got some pistol in him, man.
Right.
He's got some pistol in him. Yep.
Now it's 14-0 now,
Mick,
Georgia.
Listen. Hey, I'll get off here and let somebody else talk.
Roll damn Tide, brother. Love you, Mick. Can't wait till we hang out, buddy.
Yeah,
Take care, man.
I'm
See
looking
you, bud.
forward to it, man. Thank you for calling from down in Kentucky. I can't wait for us to hang out and do some shots together. We got Nick Saban about to be queued up here. It's 14-0 Georgia. No surprise. Here's Nick Saban. Let's go ahead and play it. Let me get out of here.
They did a great job of competing in this game. I'm really, really proud of our team, our players. I think they showed great competitive character out there in this game tonight. It was a tough game. We knew it would be a tough game. Guys showed a lot of resiliency all year long to be able to have the opportunity to get to this game. They showed a lot of resiliency in the game tonight to overcome a lot of adversity, make plays when we needed to make them, play together as a team. Everybody kind of had each other's back, and that helped us get the victory. We turned the ball over. Defense made a big stop when they had pretty good field position. Offense took the air out of it when they needed to at the end of the game. So this was a great team win for us. Obviously, both these guys had great games. B-Rob did a great job running the ball, over 200 yards rushing. Will's been a standout for us all year long. These guys have provided great leadership for some of the other younger guys on the team. And now they've created the opportunity to play for the national championship, which I'm extremely proud of this group for that.
Coach, thank you for that opening statement. A reminder, use the raise hand function. We are going to take questions now for Brian Robinson Jr. and Will Anderson Jr. only. And we will begin with Nick Kelly of the Tuscaloosa News. Go ahead, Nick.
Brian, question for you. Growing up a Tuscaloosa guy, what would you have thought as a young kid looking at what you just did tonight as a running back for Alabama football?
Nick, could you go ahead and repeat that question?
Yeah, Brian, looking back to when you were a kid in Tuscaloosa, what would he have thought of what you just did tonight as an Alabama football player?
I mean, as a young kid, just always wanted to be a part of this program, just always wanted to, play for a national championship, just being able to go out there and just lead this team, in this big game on this big stage, to have another opportunity to play for a national championship. As a young kid, that was the only thing I ever wanted to do. It's like a dream come true.
Next question will come from Michael Casagrande from AL.com.
Yeah, also for Brian, that first possession, you guys ran it 10 times on 11 plays. You guys really kind of took it to him physically up front. What was that knowing the game plan, what was that moment like, knowing that you're going to be able to run it straight at him?
We started off running the ball. We just had some positive runs in the run game. And, just had to trust it, just stay with it. And we knew, we was going to have an opportunity to run the ball, the rest of the game. So, with that first drive, coming off 10 carries, it was just let me get my mind right, and be prepared, to run the ball the rest of the game.
Next question will come from Aaron Suttles. Go ahead, Aaron.
Brian, Coach always talks about competitive character. He talks about toughness. You seem to be the personification of that. How much pride do you take in that, in your competitive character and your toughness?
I mean, I literally put all my heart into this. Like, this university, that team, that locker room. I don't never want to let, my brothers down. I don't never want to let my coaches down. I don't never want to let this university down. So, I just give it everything I got, every chance I get, and it's just a reflection of just all the hard work we just put in during the week,
Our next question will come from Edwin Stanton. Go ahead, Edwin.
Hey, Brian, just wanted to ask you, with Cincinnati's defense, did you know that you were going to be kind of the spotlight for this game today?
I mean, I didn't think I was going to be a spotlight. We just game plan. Just whatever they throw at us, we got to adjust to it. If the running game works for us, we got to stay with it. So Coach O'Brien trusted me. Just put the ball in my hand and critical situations and just carry this team. And it just means a lot to me.
Next question will come from Stephen Smith. Go ahead, Stephen.
This one's for Will Anderson. Will, just before games, in practices, in the weight room, what do you tell Dallas Turner? Because this young man just continues to grow and rise, and he feeds off of you, you feed off of him. But what do you tell Dallas?
It's getting to the point where now I don't really have to tell Dallas anything. He kind of just knows now because he has that confidence, he has that experience, and he knows what to expect now. He knows what he's going to get when he gets on the field. So now it's all about just going out there and playing ball and having fun. But I think the only thing I really say to Dallas, like during the week, is just go have fun and play ball. That's what we always say to each other. We don't overthink nothing. We just go out there, have fun, and play ball. All we think about is how we used to play, throw them up, bust them up in the backyard or something like that. It's the exact same thing. Just go out there, have fun, and play ball. That's it.
Our next question will come from Mike Rodak. Go ahead, Mike.
For Will, what sort of statement do you think this defense made in this game? And what opportunity still exists in the final game for the defense to make another statement?
I think we made a big statement, as the season went on. We've been starting to get better on defense, cutting down mental errors and stuff like that. So as the season going on and, we're coming up on our final game, I think it's really critical now that we pay attention to the little details and make sure that we're all locked in and on the same page and keep cutting down on those mental errors, keep flying around, having fun and playing together as a unit. Because I think that's what we've been doing right now.
Next question will come from Haley Sutton. Go ahead, Haley.
Will, also a question for you. All season long, you've talked about making sure your guys are mentally ready, always focusing on football. So to see the effort tonight, especially from some of those younger guys who stepped up and played, just how do you feel about the way your team played today?
I'm so happy. I'm proud of the guys. It was a long time coming. We practiced our butts off for a few weeks and stuff like that. So, mental energy was great. Like I said earlier, it was no cancer. There's nobody being negative. Everybody was just ready to play. And throughout the week, the preparation was good. Defensively, we watched film together. Meetings was good. Everybody was locked in, paying attention to the small details. We were ready for, anything they kind of threw at us. So, I'm super proud of these guys, and we just got to keep it rolling.
Next question will come from Jeff Spiegel. Go ahead, Jeff.
To watch Will Anderson just come up.
Yeah, Will, how satisfying was it to keep this team out of the end zone? This is a team that scored a lot of points this year.
That's one of our biggest goals as defense is holding people to a certain amount of points. And what we did tonight it's unbelievable. We still have more work to do, but for us to meet that goal, that's one of our biggest goals on our goal sheet. And to meet that goal, it means a lot to us, and we just got to keep going.
Next question comes from Taylor Kaufman. Go ahead, Taylor.
Hey, Will. I was just kind of wondering what the message is from you, I guess, to the team moving forward. You guys are either going to have Michigan or Georgia coming up next.
You said what's the message?
Yeah, what's your message, I guess, as a leader on the team to the rest of the team moving forward? Because you guys aren't done yet.
Oh, most definitely. The message is going to be the same. Nobody is going to give us anything. We have to go out there and take it. We have to earn it. We can't relax right now. Right now is not a time to relax. We have to enjoy this game for 24 hours, and we have to go back and get into business because, now we're going to be playing on the really biggest stage of college football now, and we have to be prepared, and everybody has to be locked in and all in.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start with Blake Topmeyer of the USA Network. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, for either Brian or Will, what do you think about the way you guys won tonight with run game and defense says about this team?
I mean, I think we just showed a lot of physicality. Like we knew that was going to come out, fired up. We knew that was going to come out and try to be physical, and we just proved that we was the most physical team. With the run game, the defensive front, just the whole defense overall, and the whole offense overall. We just proved that we was the most physical team.
Defensively, I think that's one of the biggest things we hit on this week was just being physical up front and making sure that we was in our gaps, everybody being sound, and just playing physical in our physicalism. And I think that's what we did this game.
Okay, our final question for the student athletes will come from Michael Merksley. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Brian. How did your relationship with former great Alabama running backs like Najee Harris help your performance tonight?
I mean, just watching those guys play in these moments, just sitting on the sideline, just watching those guys, take over in moments like this, and the way they prepare for it, and just the way they took the field, just dominating these moments, and just watching those guys do it over time, over the last few years, I already knew what to expect, I already knew what I had to do, and I was just glad to have the opportunity.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations. You're now excused, and we will continue with questions for Coach Saban. And if you have a question, please use the raise a hand function. We'll call on you. We'll start with Carrie Osep of WVTM. Go ahead, Carrie.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. I want to ask you just about the adversity. You've talked about it many times this season and what this team has gone through and just trying to prove consistency.
Going through the Nick Saban press conference right now, and
How
we just heard
does this
from
game speak
Will
to what they've been
Anderson.
able
Now
to
Nick
do throughout
Saban
the
jumps on,
season?
guys.
And how proud are you of the fact that they were able to get it done really up front, as you just heard from your players, with physicality?
Well, I think that this game probably is a little bit of, what this season has been all about. We've had some really good players that are missing, created opportunities for other players who have stepped up and showed that they have the confidence and a competitive character to go out there and do their job in a first-class way. The players believe in each other. I think all those things were very evident in this game tonight. And I think those are things that have been a part of what this team is made of, that has given them the opportunity to, now have a chance to play in a national championship. So very proud of what they've done. We had a young team to start with, especially on offense, and those guys have done a great job. Bryce has done a great job. We were able to run the ball when we had to run it tonight, to be physical, and we stopped them in the running game pretty well, which was a real key in this game because they do run it well. And Jerome Ford is one of the better running backs that we played against, and I thought the players did a really good job. I was concerned about how we would tackle in the game, having all this time off, but I was really pleased with the way the defensive players tackled in the game.
Next question will come from Charlie Potter of Bama Online. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, hey, Coach. We saw Emil Ekiyor leave the game late in the first quarter. Do you have an update on him?
He's got a shoulder injury. We think that, he's got a chance to be able to come back and play in the game, but it's probably too early to know. It depends on how he responds. Our medical staff will do a great job with all the players that were injured in the game, and hopefully we'll be able to get most of them ready to play.
Okay, we'll go to Nick Kelly at Tuscaloosa News. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Nick, you talk about resiliency, and Brian Robinson might be one of the best that embodies that. What impressed you most during his multi-year wait to be able to be the guy at running back?
Well, I think anytime a guy spends as much time behind as many good players as B-Rob did, never complains, always works hard, and was willing to have the patience to wait his turn. And he worked hard. Whatever his role was on the team, he was willing to do it. He's improved dramatically. He's a great person and a leader on the team right now. And I'm proud of him in terms of what kind of football player he's become, but I'm also proud of what kind of person he's become. And, I think he embodies what we really try to get our players to do, create value for themselves by what they invest in and what they do. And it took him a long time to do that, but he kept working at it. There's so many players now that are willing to cut and run as soon as things don't happen. And they get immediate self-gratification from whatever their circumstance is. And he certainly showed a tremendous amount of resiliency to stick with it, stay in a program, keep working. But there's probably not a whole lot of successful people in this world that don't have a lot of the resiliency, because you have to be able to overcome adversity. And he's done that and become a very fine person and a really good player.
Next question will come from Zachary Brazilier from the New York Post. Go ahead, Zachary.
Nick, did this feel almost like a throwback game, early in your time in Alabama, where you guys would run over people, where your defense, you would rely on your defense? Did it feel like kind of maybe the kind of win you guys might have, when you first got to Alabama?
Right. Well, we've had a couple games like that this year, but, sometimes you got to take what the defense gives. And, a lot of these running plays that we had RPOs and passes attached to them. But by the way they line up on defense, it's a give read. So you don't end up throwing the ball, and they play a lot of man-to-man. So, sometimes they took the RPOs away. So I thought Bryce did a really good job of making good decisions and taking advantage runs when we had them and a couple advantage throws when we had them. So that's just part of it. But we know that we have to have great balance on offense. When we're the best, we can run it, but we can make plays in the passing game. And, we're missing a few players in some of those spots. So this will give us another opportunity to get some of these other guys the confidence they need to continue to be able to make a contribution.
Next, we'll go to Michael Casagrande of AL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, obviously any win is what you want, but the way you were able to physically manhandle them seems up front, was that any more gratifying to see the way you guys were able to control that line?
No, well, I mean, I think you always want to control the line of scrimmage. I think it's always important in any game. And we were able to do that on both sides of the ball. And I think that was a big part of having success in this game. Now, we probably didn't make as many explosive plays because of that, but it shrinks the game. You don't have to play as many plays on defense. We did a good job on 3rd down and 4th down on defense and got off the field. So the combination of those things with a couple red area stops and being able to control the line of scrimmage up front were probably the key to being successful in this game.
We'll go next to Chris Hummer. Chris, go ahead.
Near the end of the first half, Kool-Aid recovered a fumble, Jacory scored a touchdown, and Dallas had a sack on 3rd down. How important was that sequence, and how have you seen those true freshmen handle the roles they've been lifted into?
Well, those guys played really well for us, and Kool-Aid played well tonight. Dallas has played well ever since Drew Sanders hurt his hand. So I'm really pleased with the way those guys have developed. But, it means something to those guys. Those guys are very committed to trying to be good players, trying to learn, trying to grow, watching other players and how they do things and how they need to work in practice to prepare for a game. And I think that's why they made, the improvement and the progress that they've made. And now that they've played some, I think they have some confidence as well. And I think that's, invaluable, especially at this point in the season.
Next, we'll go to Aaron Settles. Aaron, go ahead.
With Brian Robinson, he has a running style where he doesn't shy away from contact. And it almost seems to get better after he's run over a couple guys. In terms of the toughness of the team, how contagious can that be, being physical and out physicaling the team?
Yeah, well, I think that's always a goal for us, is to play, with more effort, more intensity, be more physical, play with more toughness than the other team. B-Rob certainly exemplifies that in his style of play. And I think it fires up a lot of people around him when they see, a player be able to do that. And he made some tough runs tonight. He got lots of yards after first contact.
Our next question will come from Dan Wolken, USA Today. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Nick, all season it seemed like your public comments about this team were very positive and forward-looking, even after like the A&M loss or some close games, or maybe there was some negativity with the fan base. Why did this particular team need that from you?
Well, I think we're a relatively young team. We've got a lot of young players that are out there playing. I think when you have success, the previous season, which, the guys that did come back, were very successful. It really took a long time for us to sort of develop the chemistry, on this team from a leadership standpoint, because we had some great leaders on last year's team. So even though guys have leadership qualities, they don't really see that as their role, because it didn't have to be their role in the past. But we've had some guys really step up for us and do a really good job. And I think, I don't want to call it nurturing, but I felt like, we needed to do that with this team, that, just getting on these guys all the time was not going to help their confidence. It was not going to help the young players develop. And, then we started to develop some of these internal, intangible things that really helped us grow as a team.
Next question comes from Dan Toratora. Go ahead, Dan.
Coach, having a lot of experience here in the college football playoff, just what you can say about Luke Fickell and what he's done with this Cincinnati team, and just what, that on the other sideline, what you've taken away from him and his work.
Well, I think Luke has done a fantastic job, and really anybody that looks and watches their team play, even playing us tonight, their team plays with a lot of toughness. They play hard. They're very well coached. They play together as a group. They're sound and solid in what they do in every phase of the game. And, he took a program, I think, and that won 4 games or whatever, and, got in a college football playoff. And there's no doubt in my mind that they belong in the playoff. I think the way they gave us all we could handle, in this game tonight. If we don't stop them on 4th down a couple times and stop it in the red zone, this game could have been a lot closer. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he's done and their program and their players in terms of the way they bought in. And they had a lot of players come back, and want to create value for themselves. And I think that probably contributed to the success. And they have a lot of good leadership on their team. That's very evident when you watch them play together.
The next question comes from Christopher Heidel. Go ahead, Christopher.
Good evening, Coach Saban. Chris Heidel from Hermiston Radio in Baltimore. Talk about your defense. You guys did a fantastic job controlling that high-power offense at Cincinnati. Are you guys peaking at the right time, or do you think at the next game might be the pinnacle of the season?
Well, I think that every team that you play offers different challenges, and whether it's matchups, whether it's the style of offense that they play. I think we had a good plan. I think the players did a good job of executing the plan. They played well together. And we didn't give these guys a lot of explosive plays. That's one of the things that they've been sort of known for offensively all year long is, they run, and then they make a big play in the passing game. And we were able to limit that. And I think that was the key to the drill. And it took some patience, but I thought Pete did a really good job of being patient. We wanted to make them drive it through. And, twice I think they got the ball in the red zone and didn't make a touchdown, didn't score a touchdown. So, red zone and third down is big on getting off the field. And I think we had 3 fourth down stops to go with that. So, the defense did a good job. The defensive staff did a good job. And the players did a great job of executing the plan.
Okay, we'll next go to Robert with InSync Magazine. Go ahead, Robert. You there, Robert? Unmute and ask your question. All right, we'll go ahead and go to Haley Sutton. Haley?
Coach, congratulations on the win. You've talked all season about the resiliency of this team, and that was the epitome of that really showing today with a lot of young guys and new faces stepping in. Just how happy were you with the effort from some of those younger guys today?
Well, I was elated with the way a lot of these guys played. We have confidence in the players when they get an opportunity. And I think every time that they get opportunities, they learn more and more, not only about what they need to do, but how they need to prepare so that they can go in the game and play with confidence, not make mental errors, do their job well. I think those things are really, really important. And when young players get an opportunity to play, they learn and grow from their mistakes. And these guys will continue to get better. But I think because they go about it the right way, they've made a tremendous amount of improvement. And I was really pleased with, Ja'Cory Brooks has played well for us. He has to step up now, that John Mechie's out. And we have a lot of other young players that have done a really, really good job for us. So I'm proud of each and every one of them, but I also have confidence in them as well.
Coach, our final question will come from Mike Rodak. Go ahead.
Is at the line of scrimmage at the work.
I don't know which question I'm supposed to answer, but I will answer the one that I heard. We really work hard on what we call matching the hand, and we got a couple good guys that have a knack for that. You push the pocket in the middle, and you kind of study the quarterback and his mannerisms in the pocket, and then when his hand comes through, you want to match the hand with whatever hand you can get up. And I think that was, we made some big plays doing that tonight. Some of these, I call them street plays, zone option, flat plays. If you have pressure on the edge, it's tough for the quarterback sometimes to get the ball over top of the guy. And we had a couple of those as well. But we've got some guys that do a good job of pushing the pocket. Pass rush has been a thing that has helped us a lot on third down. We were able to pressure the quarterback, even at times when we don't get sacks. We're forcing the quarterback to throw the ball before he really wants to. And I think that's really important to being successful in pass defense.
Coach Saban, thank you for joining us. Congratulations. Good luck in Indianapolis.
All right. Thank you.
There he is, the GOAT, Nick Saban, and his comments after Alabama's 27-6 win over Cincinnati. Pretty excited about the way that things went for the Crimson Tide. He was definitely a guy who is, kind of focused on the next game. That's something that we expect from him. But at the same time, very confident as well. He talked about the process of getting this team ready to be their best, the struggles that they had at the beginning of the year, replacing the guys who were there last year. But all of a sudden, it feels like this team has hit their stride, and that's the exciting part about what Alabama has been able to do. I bring back on Trey Yanity. There you are, Trey. Good to see you back. As we wrap things up, we got to let everybody go watch Michigan and Georgia, which is becoming a bloodbath right now, but which I'm not surprised about. We're going to have the Alabama-Georgia rematch, which I never didn't think we would. But what did you think about what Nick Saban had to say? I can't hear you right now. I think you're muted, Trey. But look, as Trey gets unmuted, get plugged back in on his computer, we'll hear from him in a second. It's 17-0 right now, Georgia over Michigan.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, what do you think about Nick Saban's comments?
I thought it was pretty basic, pretty vanilla, kind of what we expected him to say. Nothing too in depth about any injury updates or anything, but they're going to take this night and they're going to learn, from the mistakes they made in this game and just kind of carry over. It was basic. I liked what Bryce Young said, immediately talked about the offensive line, and he gave Brian Robinson his due credit. Over on his interview. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, go check it out on our YouTube page over there with some other players as well. But, overall, pretty basic night in general. Basic on the football field. I think basic in the post game. And Nick Saban just doing Nick Saban as far as his comments went there. But all good stuff. Good to get Will Anderson, on the mic stand as well, along with Brian Robinson. I love what Nick Kelly from the Tuscaloosa News asked early on in that press conference. He asked Brian, what's it like being from Tuscaloosa, playing in the area, always kind of dreaming about playing for Alabama? What would you tell a 10-year-old version of yourself right now? Or, how would he feel about your performance tonight? And it was really cool to kind of hear his thoughts, hear him kind of describe that and break that down. But overall, it was a business trip, and Alabama did business tonight. They can go have fun, go celebrate the new year, as I hope our viewers are going to do tonight as well. Pop some, get it going for us, Mick. I know you're getting some new tabs going on the keg there in the studio as well, so please live it up tonight. But for Alabama football, this was business. They got the job done. They're going to move on to the next one. And I think it was Christian Harris tonight said it's a 15-round fight. This was round number 14. You got one more to go. And that's, as simple as that. There's one game, 4 quarters, 60 minutes. Maybe it's going to be Georgia, maybe Michigan, whoever it's going to be, just 60 minutes and number 19 is yours. This team is as laser focused as they've been all season. And I think that was kind of reflected there in those, post-game thoughts.
Well, Trey, first off, I got to give you kudos on the new clean look after the new year, looking sharp with the haircut. I like the background over there in your studio, the microphone, man, killing it. And you make some great points. I mean, look, we're getting ready for a colossal battle. I mean, if you think Georgia's going to play the way they did last time against Alabama, forget about it. This is an Alabama team that's not going to have one of their biggest hitters in John Mechie. I mean, remember that game in the SEC championship? The biggest play against Florida was Mechie on defense after the interception, just putting a shoulder in a guy and forcing a fumble. But this Alabama team, Trey, feels like they found something. Nick Saban, so I heard this in the press conference. One of the guys asked him about being positive about this team when they were struggling. It was very un-Nick Saban this year because he was so positive about this team when they didn't play well, when they made mistakes, when they made penalties. But he is the GOAT. He knows what he's doing. And basically what he was doing was trying to get this team to the point where they would be where they are right now.
That's exactly what it was. I mean, you talk about kind of the momentum of this team and just the mindset, the vibes with this group. It was so much different than the group in 2020. That was a veteran team that had the experience, that kind of knew how to win and played in the playoff before. This team, it was completely different. You replaced so many different pieces. And, there was nights where we got on our post-game show and I sat here and said, guys, just wait, keep waiting, wait another week, wait a little bit. Arkansas, LSU, these weeks, just give it some time. And, I could see the frustration with our BamaInsider fans here. They're saying, well, how long do we wait? When is this waiting going to end? I mean, it's already, Auburn week. It's already time for Arkansas, the end of the season. When does the waiting end? I think, it kind of, we saw the waiting end in that second half against Auburn in that fourth quarter. And obviously, if you were still waiting on this team to click, you need to stop waiting after that Georgia game because they figured it out. You could just kind of see the momentum shift. And I think for Nick Saban, regardless of how, he felt what he went home and said to Miss Terry, I think he had to keep those positive vibes with his team because with a young group, you don't want to scare these guys. You don't want to intimidate them, make them feel uncomfortable on the field. For Ja'Cory Brooks, obviously, he felt pretty comfortable in that Auburn game. And again, tonight, making the big play there. Bryce Young has felt comfortable throughout this season. And Brian Robinson, a guy that, is a little bit older, is obviously one of the veterans on this team, had to feel comfortable in this game. And I think if nothing else, setting up the run tonight, using that as your primary weapon on offense does so much for your team because no matter what you want to do going into the Georgia game, you can win on the ground and in the air. You have the Heisman winner as your quarterback and a guy that just had his career night, against Cincinnati. So overall, just a feel-good night for Alabama, what we wanted to see. And, if there's anybody still waiting for this team to click, I think the wait is far over at this point. They're playing the hottest that they have all season. If there's a time to get hot, I think it's during the college football playoff.
Look, it's going to be a clash of the Titans. Georgia and Alabama, the two best teams in the SEC, a rematch after Alabama absolutely, as Stone Cold Steve Austin used to say, opened up a can of whoop ass on them. They destroyed Georgia, not Stone Cold, but Alabama. And I think Georgia's a really good football team. They've got a bunch of NFL guys on that team. Alabama knows how to win. Georgia obviously wants that spot, and they want to be national champs. The media is going to tell you that Alabama is unbeatable and that Georgia can't beat Alabama. I'm guessing that the line in the game, I still think Georgia's going to be favorite. Because I think they're going to end up beating Michigan probably like 42-0 before this whole thing's over. I was on my man Lawrence Holmes' show today on The Score in Chicago, and I said, listen, go to the casino and put all your money on Georgia. And we're seeing it right now. Michigan never had a chance in this game. Styles don't work when Georgia's going to be able to smother your run and they're going to just blow right by you. So I'm expecting that this thing's just going to keep getting uglier, and we're going to see Alabama, and we're going to see Georgia play one more time. But I've had an absolute blast tonight. I've had an absolute blast. Thanks to Kyle Henderson, who's our managing editor on the site, Chris Daughtry, who does a fantastic job, and you, Trey. All the callers as well, man. What a great time.
Yeah. No, this is it. I mean, this is what we work for, getting to this point in the season where, we get to talk about playoff football and we get to watch this team in, really meaningful games here. Cincinnati was an interesting opponent. This was a unique kind of night, but it was fun to get to watch Desmond Ridder and Jerome Ford and to see a group of 5 team get the opportunity to play in the playoff. Alabama made them look like a group of 5 school tonight. They won this game handily, 3 touchdowns, but like you said, just a great night of football. Great night to, have some fun. It's New Year's, guys. Go out and, have a great time. Stay safe tonight. Thanks for joining the show, getting on the call line, getting in the comments. It really has been an excellent day. And hey, you know what? With that win tonight, we got another one coming up in 10 days. So excited to cover it, break down everything, leading up to the national title on the 10th there. But overall, just a great night. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, good point, Trey. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Great job, Trey and Chris and Kyle and everyone that's involved with the site. Guys, give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. You know what? I never expected to be on here. This was just a kind of a spot from my other show that I do on my pregame show, but it has been a blast. And one of the things I love the most is just having a good time with the callers and with you guys, Trey and Chris and Kyle. Because that's why I do this, because I have a great time. So this was an awesome night. I don't know what's going to happen when Alabama plays Georgia, but love to all of you guys that have hung out with us tonight. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Be safe, as Trey said, and know that we are going to have this championship game covered like a blanket, which is what you would expect. And I'll be back on Sunday night to take your calls at 6:00. And we'll break down what the matchup's going to be, right? Because we'll know by then that Alabama and Georgia are definitely playing, which I'm telling you that was going to happen from the very beginning. So anyway, Trey, awesome, man. Have a happy New Year. And if you go to Innisfree tonight, give Tripp a high five for me.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I don't know what are in the plans, but maybe a Hershey Porter, if nothing else, for the rest of the night. But yeah, excited to ring this new year in.
All right, happy New Year, everybody. Alabama 27. Cincinnati 6, back in the Natty one more time as the Crimson Tide look for number 19. That is a crazy number on the side of the helmet. When I went to school, it was number 12. Roll Tide, everybody. Good night.